Councilman Mike Flynn and former business owner in town, Jackson Despres. Thank you very much. Our prayer. Dear God, we thank you for your goodness, your mercy, and your grace. Help us to carry these wonderful gifts in our own hearts and lives. May we minister these to all the world. Amen. Salute to the flag.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Emergency evacuation and health notifications.
Thank you, Council President. Emergency evacuation health notifications for the Town Council chambers. The left of the stage, up the stairs will take you out the back of the building. The back of the council chambers to your right. Those stairs will take you out the front of the building. Just past that on the right is the men's facility. Up the stairs to the left is the ladies' facility. Please do not use the elevator in time of emergency.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to presentations, there are none tonight. Minutes. Move that the minutes of the June 6th, 2023 executive session meeting held Rhode Island General Laws, Section 42-46-582, collective bargaining discussion concerning status of Smithfield Lodge number 17, Fraternal Order of Police, union negotiations, and Section 42-46-582, potential litigation be approved as recorded and sealed.
So moved.
Seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye on the first part. The second part, I'm going to abstain. Moving on to B. Move that the minutes of the June 6, 2023 open session meeting be approved as recorded.
So moved.
Seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. There are no appointments tonight, so moving on to public hearing. Conduct a public hearing on the proposed fiscal year 2024 budget. This is a public hearing. You can come up and state your name and your address. I declare the public meeting open.
Council President, just a few items I'd like to bring up to start off. If anyone's interested, there is copies of the draft budget out there, which includes potential amendments for consideration tonight from the Budget and Finance Review Board's version of this budget. And I want to start off, I know some of them are here. What a fantastic job that they did throughout the process once again this year, and all the time and commitment they put into the budget process and working with us. We're very grateful for that. So thank you to all of you who are here. Moving on from that, some of the items that came up in the work session that have been included in the budget with this proposed budget. First item was adding $100,000 to the legislative and policy capital area for school capital fund contribution. Next item was the local pension in the police department, the police private pension, an addition of $300,000. The Parks and Recreation Department, addition of $46,365 for half a year of a full-time position. And then the last piece of addition was additional $10,000 in total appropriation to the Greenville Public Library. The offset the balance budget with an increase of tax revenue of $456,365. And the net effect to the residential real estate rate is actually a reduction from the proposed down to $13.78. And the commercial real estate was reduced to $19.29 per thousand, with the tangible rate maintaining at the same level. Now we're going to have to answer any other questions, Council President.
Thank you very much.
Randy, can you explain how this extra money came about, just so people understand?
Sure,
Thank you.
sure. So when we begin the budget process, which begins back in January, we maintain the same level of tax value to stay conservative throughout the process. So we try to make sure that we never underestimate the tax rate at that point. So as we move through the year, our assessor is able to get through and get to a final number. We get it finalized prior to adoption. Luckily this year, we had some values. We had some growth, but also growth to the laddering of tax stabilization agreements. So we were able to get additional value, which we were able to give back and reduce the rates and provide additional benefits to the areas of need.
Thank you.
Randy, I have a quick question. You mentioned tax stabilization. In the following item with the agreement with Bay Crane, is this something that could also be contributing to the offset of the price?
So that amount that's listed in there is covered into what the tax levy is about, so it's not changing anything one way or the other. It's just built into what that number is. So that's not the effect that we're seeing.
Thank you. Any public comment?
Tom Hodgkins, 200 Farnham Pike. What was the basis for the increase of $10,000 to the Greenville Public Library?
The Greenville Public Library presented at the work session numerous additional capital items that they were looking to have funded, and the council at that point, felt it was a reasonable ask, so that was why I added it to the budget.
And that was over the recommendation of the Budget and Financial Review Board?
Say that again.
That was over the recommendation of the Budget and Financial Review Board?
Yes, sir. So that would raise it from the 931,850 to 941,850.
I wanted to address this appropriation of the library, the whole thing. Library plays an important mission in our community. They do across the state. But when dollars are diverted from that mission to non-mission related activities, the taxpayers suffer for that, and their money shouldn't have to go to that. The library has been involved in litigation for several years for violating the Access to Public Records Act. Over that time, they've spent over $100,000 on legal fees defending a case that they really had no defense to. They paid attorneys at rates over $500 an hour to defend that case. Earlier this year, the Supreme Court ordered the library to pay over $60,000 to the plaintiff's legal fees. That's in addition to the over $100,000 that the library has incurred over the past several years. Since 2019, the library's budget has gone up every year. This year, they asked for an over 10% increase. I didn't know about the additional increases at the work session, over $100,000. Despite all these increases, the library never disclosed to the town what it was spending on these legal fees or what the scope of this litigation was. It's my understanding that the town first learned of this issue when I raised it at the Budget and Financial Review Board in March or April of this year. At that time, the library told the Budget and Financial Review Board that no taxpayer dollars had been used to pay legal fees or the judgment in that case. The library's minutes reflect that they recently transferred $60,000 from their investment or reserve account to pay the judgment. However, over the past several years, the minutes from the library's board don't reflect any other transfers from the reserved fund to pay for legal fees. That suggests that the legal fees in this case were paid from the operating fund. The biggest contributor by far to the operating fund is the taxpayer's appropriation. Whether the taxpayers' dollars directly or as the biggest part of that money indirectly are paying for those legal fees, it shouldn't be that way. During that time, the library has also asked for and received capital improvement plan funding, as well as American Rescue Plan funding. I asked for the audited financial records of the library, which I understand the town hasn't had the opportunity to review. I asked for those last week from the library. Without explanation, they refused to produce them until later this week, after this budget hearing. The town has right now limited oversight of the library. The library, I understand it's their position that the town has no oversight role and has no role in its budget, in their budget, even though the town is, now at $940,000. So I think this is concerning that there's, basically a taxpayer's check being written for, I guess, $941,000 to an organization that thinks it has no oversight, or that the town has no oversight to tell the library how to spend its budget or how to allocate any of that money. In fact, the town can't even tell the library not to spend taxpayer dollars on those legal fees that I was speaking about. So I bring this up. I hope that the town can soon think about ways to get some oversight over the library, over that spending, and do that now rather than wait till the budget process next year. And also include reviewing the library's audited financial statements and preparing the budget and the appropriation. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more public comment? We'll close the public comment. Pleasure of the council. So moved. We have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed?
No.
Motion passes. Item B, this is to schedule a public hearing on July 11, 2023, to consider, discuss, and act upon an application for tax stabilization from Bay Crane Northeast LLC. With the Smithfield, no, hold on, sorry. Yeah, that's it. This is a scheduled public hearing. We have a second? Is there a second on scheduling the public hearing?
Second. Is this the issue that that you are recused from, John? Yep. So it's only a public hearing. Well, I asked that question before, and they said no.
This is just a schedule. You can
Just to schedule a hearing.
schedule it, but you can't participate.
Right, right. Oh, okay.
So we have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Under licenses, consider, discuss, and act upon approving the annual renewal of one bingo license as applied, subject to compliance with all state regulations and local ordinances. This is for the Raymond C. LaPerche PTA.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Item B, consider, discuss, and act upon approving the annual renewal of one holiday sales license as applied, subject to compliance with all state regulations and local ordinances. This is for the Bar and Yoga Experience, LLC DBA, the Bar and Yoga Experience, 259 Putnam Pike.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Item C, consider, discuss, and act upon approving one special event license for Seven Cedars Farm for a charity car show, 20 John Maury Road, on the following date, Sunday, July 9th, 2023, from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. All special event licenses for Seven Cedar Farms are subject to compliance with all state regulations and local ordinances.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Sounds fun. Consider, discuss, and act upon approving one-day beer and wine license for Seven Cedars Farm for a private event as follows. Sunday, September 17th, 2023, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., with a rain date of Sunday, September 24th, 2023.
So,
Motion to approve?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item E, consider, discuss, and act upon approving a sidewalk sales license for Blackbird Farm LLC, DBA Blackbird Farm, to hold a farmer's market every Sunday through October 8, 2023, with the hours of operation to be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on property located at 660 Douglas Pike, as applied, subject to compliance with all state regulations and local ordinances.
Motion to approve? Second.
Discussion? I just had a question about parking. Is there enough there with the vendors there?
I think it's been, yes,
Yeah,
they've
okay.
been able to well manage that.
I just looked at
The Bulls move any cars that get in the way.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Item F, consider, discuss, and act upon approving an application for temporary extension of a Class D full privilege license premise for the Smithfield Sportsman Club to include its parking lot located at 14 Walter Carey Road for their annual field day to be held Sunday, September 17th, 2023, from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. as applied, subject to compliance with all state regulations, local ordinances, and conditional upon the alcohol crowd control agreement with the Smithfield Police Department. The rain date will be Sunday, September 24th.
so moved.
Any discussion?
Well, mention, the sports booth for them. A few years ago when they had it, they did an exceptional job with them, keeping in compliance with the control agreement. They have a whole separate area versus sports activities.
Excellent. Old business, there's none. I'm sorry? We had, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Old business, none. New business. Consider, discuss, and act upon the appropriation and tax levy resolution for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2024.
Thank you, Council President. So this item is really to solidify everything that had to do with the passage of the budget, and it is in bring this in compliance with the town charter in the manner in which the budget is approved.
Thank you. Pleasure of the council.
Do we have to read each one? No.
You can.
They would be here a while.
Second?
Any discussion on this item? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Item B, consider, discuss, and act upon authorizing the town manager to enter into contract through the Omnia Partners Contract number 254 with Re-Rig Pacific Company of Miami-Dade County, Florida, for the purchase of trash and recycling carts in the amount not to exceed $29,894.00.
Good evening. Gene Allen, Director of Public Works. This purchase is going to come out of next year's operating budget. It's about a 6 to 8 week delivery period on these items, and this is your trash and recycling carts based on what we anticipate to be growth next year, replacement of cots and damaged cots.
What's the lifespan of these? They're pretty durable.
The warranty is 10 years. We usually get a little bit more, but we're starting to see some of them fail.
Were they free at any point
That's prior to me. I don't know.
prior to you? Okay. No, they were
I
not.
don't think there's anything that's free out there. They probably were about half the price back then.
At the time, though, we generated savings from switching to the automated, so it reduced our service fee at the same time the front for the capital.
Oh. Gotcha. What's the RFID tag?
Serial number. Every household has a serial number that's placed on the cart so that we know where that cart goes to.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, thank you.
How long do we expect the carts that the residents are using now, how long do we expect those to last?
Like I say, the warranty is for 10 years. We're starting to see some wear. If there is damage to them, like the wheels or the covers, a lot of times we can go out and make some repairs to make them last as long as we can. But, you know, they get picked up and they do have a little bit of crushing that happens. So once they break, there's not much you can do. So 10 to 15 years, let's say.
10, 15 years more?
No, the ones that we're buying now, I would estimate 10 to 15 years
okay.
of life out of them. The ones that are out there now, we're approaching that 10 years.
So, okay. So we're replacing them on an as-needed basis?
Yes.
I asked this question earlier in passing, but just for the public record, do we elaborate on the rental of how residents in town can rent a recycling bin? I don't think a lot of people even knew that.
So you can get an extra recycling bin for no charge whatsoever. We also have loaner cots that for if you're having a party or a graduation party or something like that, and you're going to have some extra trash and or recycling, we will loan you a cot for free. We deliver it and we'll pick it up after the event.
Great to know.
Yeah, we can do that.
This coming up.
You can do that up to 4 times a year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is it paid by credit card or is it not? How is it paid?
Generally, people come in with a check.
No, how is this being paid for? Is it paid for through a credit card? It just says it's a 2% processing fee, so I'm sure that adds a lot. Oh, it's a check,
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
I'm
yeah,
just
check
curious.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item C, consider, discuss, and act upon authorizing a request for proposals for purchase of real property, existing structure for a new fire station, subject to review by the town solicitor.
Good evening, Chief Seltzer from the Fire Department. In front of you, you have an RFP That was put together after some inquiries with the town manager from some local businesses in the Route 7, 116 area regarding properties that they may be interested in selling and may have good potential for a fire station. So before we make a final decision to move forward with the property we have, and we want to take a look at this and see if it made more financial sense. And the RFP was put together based upon the initial design of the fire station. And it's set up to go out for 30 days. And when they come back, we would review them, see if the property actually has the proper land mass and building size. It also includes the ability of the town to negotiate whoever puts in a proposal to make the fire station NFPA compliant and building code compliant based upon the needs of a fire station and a headquarters. So it went in front of the Fire Department Building Committee last week. It was approved to move forward to the town council. I know I had sent it over to the solicitor for review, and I believe it's all set. So we're asking to move forward with this to see if there are, give everybody an equal opportunity to present a proposal if they have interest in possibly having something that we could utilize on that area.
Thank you.
Now, we already have land that was previously purchased for the fire station.
Yes,
And what does the town intend to do with that land
I
if this
believe-
goes forward?
we would sell it. If you want to add a comment to that.
So there's definitely been numerous requests to sell that to some of the commercial entities up in the area. So once we know what direction we're definitely going in, then we can definitely put that out with an RFP and look to get that sold.
And there's been several inquiries.
Now, will renovating an existing structure, that would save, I'm assuming that would save money as opposed to building a new building from scratch?
For a few reasons, the design or the layout of the property and the proper drainage and all that stuff that we had to put in, it's already on the property. And there may be other potential savings where the person that bids, and we accept that bid, would actually provide all the necessary other compliances we need, and therefore we wouldn't have to pay for it. We would just be paying for the final version of the station, therefore not having to get into any type of building agreements when they kind of contractors or anything. And it would probably save us a significant amount of money because we would have to go out prevailing wage for any kind of significant construction we do.
Thank you.
Move passage.
You have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on Adam? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion
Thank you.
carries. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Yep.
Item D, consider, discuss, and act upon authorizing a request for proposals for the construction of a concessions building, grandstand, press box, and track and field entrance at the Boyle Athletic Complex, subject to review by the town solicitor.
Move passage.
Well, Mr. President, actually, I'll follow this motion. I was going to make a motion to rescind, because that's what it says on the paper right there.
Not, the next one is rescind on the concession.
Am I looking at? How comes to
Right,
rescind?
oh,
Oh,
the-
all right, the Deerfield, okay, never mind. Seconded. Councilman
Any
Pacini.
discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item E, here you go, Sean. Consider, discuss, and act upon rescinding a request for proposals for concession services at Deerfield Park.
Move passage.
Seconded.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item G, consider, discuss, and act upon authorizing a request for a block party to be held from 12 p.m. Consider, discuss, and act upon authorizing a request for proposals for concession services at Deerfield Park, subject to review by the town solicitor.
Move passage.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item G, consider, discuss, and act upon authorizing a request for a block party to be held from 12 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Saturday, June 29th, 2023 on Kimberly Ann Drive.
Hello, how's it going?
Good.
Nicholas Ricky, 11 Kimberly Drive. I was coming here to see if you can approve having a block party. My daughter's 3 years old. We have a lot of kids on our streets, and 3 and 6 years old. Some middle schoolers. We're trying to have a little summer party. I corresponded with Donna at the town council. She said to come to this meeting and see if we can get approval.
Thank you. We used to have a block party at our old neighborhood, and we didn't know we needed one of these.
Seemed very
I think
fancy.
it's great you came in front of us.
Kimberly Ann Drive, I remember when I was campaigning that, you know, a lot of cars drive very fast on
Very.
that road.
Yep.
So how is this going to be made safe by blocking off part of this road?
Yeah, so we're pretty fortunate that we live off Austin Avenue, so if you turn off, there's about 3 houses, and then there is a break in the street. So you can make a left onto Crabapple or right onto Valjean. So if we can have a blockade past that to keep all the kids safe on the street. And then on the following side, there's also a way to get in and out on Christopher Drive. So there's definitely ways that cars can go around both sides, to the left and to the right, to get obviously to their homes. And then we would just have blocked off at the 7 houses that I live.
Has the police department taken a look at this plan?
I did reach out to both the police and fire department, and they told me to come and speak to you guys.
They've looked at it?
Yep.
Okay.
And I sent a diagram of where the blockades would be, so you can see that there would be access on both sides for cars to go.
Yeah,
How
I
many
think,
people, oh, sorry.
I think long-term for Kimberly Ann, maybe we should have the traffic commission look at that street in general, because, you know, I think that, you know, something's needed there, a stop sign or something to
Yeah.
slow down the traffic, because everyone seems to be coming from the streets to get to Austin Avenue.
Yeah.
And it's very,
Yeah,
very,
unfortunately, you know, we do, like I said, we have a lot of kids in our street, and they do go very fast down the street, so we've been trying to put just some safety signs just to say, please slow
Right.
down, because
right, well,
I have a 3-year-old at home.
yeah, I think that the town needs to get involved in that. I think that's a very dangerous street.
Yes.
How many
no,
people do you expect?
sorry, Paul.
I'm not
That's how
exactly
everything's
sure. I mean, I've spoken to all the neighbors, so I would say between, I don't know, 30 people. Obviously, we would invite some family and friends, so, but I don't think it would get too crazy. I mean, when I spoke with Donna, she said, you know, do you want to do this to midnight? And I was like, no, my kid goes to bed at 8 o'clock, so would not be too late.
I was just going to add 2 things. I know you mentioned you talked to the police and fire. I just want to make sure that the 2 chiefs are actually okay with it, and if it's reached all the levels at their departments to make, I just want to, especially for the kids, we want to make sure everything's safe.
I
So
agree.
just to make
Thank
sure
you.
where they're at on and what else we can provide to make it safe for you guys.
Thanks.
Anthony, have we ever done this before?
This is the first time I've seen it come before the council. I don't know if it's been done in the past.
We can't find that it was done in the town of Smithfield before, and with our solicitors help, we reviewed the situation and how it's set up in North Providence, and that was why they're passed through the town council for that. Growing up in Cranston, there was a certain process that we had to have all the neighbors sign off, and then the Public Works would deliver pylons.
So we don't have a process.
Correct.
Well, maybe we should look into doing a process. Sorry, Chief.
Chief St. Sever, Smithfield Police. I suppose someone has to be the party pooper, might as well be the police chief. We've had requests for block parties over the years, and I have always told people that streets are for cars, not for people, and not for parties. I do not support streets being closed down so that people can party in them. And I don't think the town should be in that business either. That's my position.
So there have been these that come up in the past that we're not aware of that.
We've told people they can have block parties all they want, but they can't block streets.
Okay. And then Chief, is anything on your side?
Is it possible you could just move the Deerfield Park or something over there? I think, quite honest with you, the way people drive
especially on that street.
You would have to literally put some concrete block, personally, I wouldn't be comfortable with kids on the highway, that live on the roadway without concrete blocks. Then that shuts the, how much, what's your average? 11 feet. So how much area would you be looking at? About 7 homes. Yeah, we couldn't do that. Like you were gonna block off the whole area, but we couldn't get a fire truck. So I mean, if we needed to just do it. I'm talking, we need to put some heavy barriers in there. We're not putting concrete down. You get us to the horse barrier. Just a standard wooden one.
Chief, can you, I'm sorry, but we gotta come up to the podium. If you guys want to talk, you gotta go up here so that it gets recorded.
I can't remember.
I just think you have to put something up solid if we're gonna do this, and it's gotta be access to get a rescue and a fire truck in. So there would have to be some way to immediately move whatever's in the place. But it seems to me it'd be safer to move the whole thing to an area we don't have to, as much safety issues. That's just my thoughts on it.
I lived in New York for 27 years before moving to Rhode Island. I've been to 50 block parties. We've always used like a horse barricade, and like I said, safety is our #1 priority. We're literally having our kids out in the street. We just thought it'd be a great way to have like a summer party. Obviously, moving to another location, that kind of defeats the purpose of having like it on our street. We have a lot of kids nearby. We're just hoping that this would be approved so that we can do this safely.
One option would maybe doing when we had ours, we were doing it in someone's driveway. We picked that house, and that was that's where you set the food up. That's where your kids are gonna ride bikes no matter what. You can't stop that, but if you kept it off, like the food and stuff off the street, you know what I mean? The chairs off the street, I think, and just park them maybe on one side so the trucks can get through, but.
I know, but the whole thing is if we could do this safely by having the road blocked off, we wouldn't have to worry about cars coming down for those set hours.
Yeah, I know that road. That is a major cut through. Not a cut through, but a fast road.
So if we denied this, he could technically still do it, but obviously that would be a huge safety risk.
I mean, I honestly would not
wouldn't
feel
be able to
comfortable
block the
doing
road.
it.
Not block, right,
Yeah,
exactly.
I wouldn't feel comfortable
Sure.
inviting, every neighbor over and say, risk having your kids in the street when we know that the cars go down there.
Right.
That's why we're asking for the approval to have the road blocked off for the set hours.
I'm sorry, I was looking at the map.
Could they shorten the time frame? I don't know.
Joe O'Connor, Apple Tree Lane.
You're not invited to the party, Joe.
I'm telling you right now, when my children were growing up as adolescents, we had block parties every single year. And we blocked off Maori and the other one up there. We just blocked them with cars. We had ponies, we had clowns, we had everything. And no one cared. And everybody was safe. Everybody had a good time. And the Smithfield police graciously looked the other way. God bless them. And I'm sorry now. I'm not sorry now that I didn't apply for an application. Thank you.
Ask for forgiveness and permission. I don't have a problem with the application. I'd motion to approve it.
I'm stuck in the middle, honestly. The police chief says one thing. I mean, I don't want to be the squisher of fun either. I know, it's tough.
Why don't, I would like to see a plan drawn up perhaps that's acceptable to the police. I mean, I don't think we should be approving something that the police chief and the fire chief are opposed to.
Right.
So perhaps a plan could be drawn up. Maybe, I like the idea of Deerfield Park, because that is a great location for just about anything that you want to do. And I think neighborhoods can go there. I mean, it's a fantastic venue, really.
I think the chiefs are almost forced into the position that they're in because, you can't, obviously for liability reasons, they can't say that this is our right to do. I can't call them up and ask if I can go skate on Slacks Pond, even though everyone else is doing it because they can't say so.
It's true.
So,
Yeah, but you just brought up a good point, the liability. So if we approve it, we're liable. if something happens.
Are we?
I'm not approving it.
I mean, this is not a dead-end street. If this was a dead-end street, it would be
Right.
something
I
different.
agree.
But this is a
Highly
street that
traveled.
that's highly traveled. It's a cut-through street, and I just don't feel comfortable with it.
You know anyone with a cul-de-sac? No, I know not you, but anywhere else around.
Well, there's a motion.
Can I just say, if you do go that route and you want, we can work with them and see if there's a safe way to do it. And, try to work with them, but the safety is the biggest part for everybody in that neighborhood. So we'd be happy to work with them, like, speaking from fire department.
Well, maybe if the council would consider tabling it, I know we're talking about the 29th of July, to table it to come back on the 11th for consideration, where you can sit down with police and fire and EMA and see if they can put a plan together. And if it's,
I'll amend my motion.
Randy, it's June 29th.
Is it June or July?
June 29th, right?
oh, I have
June
July 29th on.
I got June, yeah.
Is it June or
I
July?
have July,
July
Oh,
29th.
it is. I got June too.
so we have time.
Okay.
You have time. You got that. You got the first meeting in July 11th will be the next council meeting.
I think that's fair.
I say June.
Oh, on the agenda, it says June.
So I amended
I got it.
my motion to table it until the next meeting.
Second.
I mean, would it just be possible to work directly with the police to make sure that everything is safe?
Just went to them. Would have just went to them and talked to it instead of putting it on the agenda.
Okay.
So what we'll do is they'll talk to you before you leave, and then they'll give you contacts from each of the departments so that you can sit down with them.
So if they say yes, or is it getting approved, or has it come back to you
It has to
guys?
come back to the council on the 11th.
With an acceptable plan.
Yeah, I'm just worried that now we're just getting short on time to have things, we're gonna have to like get food and stuff like that.
When is it, July?
Yeah.
Well,
Because that's only
either
gonna give
that
us
or we
2
deny
weeks.
it now.
I know, so.
In 18 days, order food.
So there is a motion on the,
Second.
And the motion is to table it.
Table it.
for the next meeting. We're gonna have to do that, unfortunately. All those in favor?
Aye.
H, consider, discuss, and act upon canceling the September 5th town council meeting.
So moved.
Hold on one second, John. I've spoken to some of the members. I just suggest if the council's okay with this, we hold off at this point. It's to do with the primary election, and the concern was that how early our meeting is in August, and to be the time till late September to have another meeting is just concern about that. So if at the time being, if the council can take no action on this item, and we'll readdress it as we get closer, and then see if there's enough items to be necessary for the agenda. So we'll readdress it at the August meeting, if that's okay.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Public comment? If anyone in the public would like to come up and speak, they're more than welcome. Just state your name and your address, please.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved. Will number
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.